boat.
Yes, nice. But hello, everybody, and welcome to Top Tier Tier's set overview for Kantai Collection 3 European Fleet. I'm Chipana, joined by El Perez, and we've got our guest Beanley here.
Yep.
Oh, he's here, I promise. But yeah. So we're going to be going over the set. We're going to be going over what the best cards are, what the best cards of each color are, how Kantai is going to fit into the meta now that it's got this nice set of boosted cards.
Also,
And we're
it's a
going
nice
to
boat.
just yes, there's a nice boat. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. Where do you guys think Kantai falls now?
It's a little bit better than before,
I think it's a lot better than before, honestly.
I guess.
A
Yeah.
plus plus.
A plus, that high?
Yeah.
I could see it in an A plus. I don't think it's very high in A plus, but I think it certainly can be there. Like I don't think it's as good as any of the current frequently played decks, aside from the fact that it has a money counter. But even so, Compass isn't always a money counter, and it doesn't do very much against Monogatari, doesn't do anything against Puyo, nothing against LB, but no one plays LB, why am I even saying that? Uh, and obviously nothing against Talavru. So I think its main strength now is in its ability to have a passively fat field, which can kind of deny LB, I suppose. And not LB. What am I saying? Kind of deny to love. I've got little busters on the brain. Ignore me. It kind of denies Talavru, kind of denies Monogatari, kind of denies Cinderella Girls. There's a bunch of kinders. I'm just not convinced that this deck is actually super good right now. Although it is up to standard. It's up to par.
I'm gonna need to find a new benchmark set because Terraformers is starting to fall back.
Guilty Crown is the benchmark set now, I think.
Alright, Guilty Crown could be the new benchmark. Terraformers got to
It's
take a
weird.
step down.
It's weird because it doesn't. Well, Guilty Crown doesn't do anything like most decks do, but I think
Actually,
it's the benchmark set.
Is Guilty
Maybe
Crown
Planet is the
is Guilty
benchmark
Crown
set,
even
actually.
better than that much better than Terraformers?
I don't even know. It does different things, but I think it's overall about the same. Let's go with Planet. Planet's a good benchmark.
Eh.
All right. Anyway,
Random musing.
so Beanley thinks A plus. I think probably around A plus. I'm not convinced about this deck being like super great. I think it's got a lot of little things that contradict with each other. I think that it has a bunch of pretty decent cards, but nothing broken, and it's not doing broken things, which is immediately makes it immediately worse than some of the decks like Puyo, which does broken things. And I don't think the quality of its card effects is as good as, say, Monogatari, which is fine. Like there are lots of sets which aren't as good as obviously some of the best value sets in the game, but that's the standard we have to evaluate by. That's all.
It's just like overall the set was like for every spoiler every day, like I was hoping for like a really broken card because it's Kantai collection. But
I mean, all the broken cards are in set one. It's just that no one's playing them anymore.
yeah,
Except like Congo. Congo is a pretty broken card. But the fact that Congo out of everything in Kantai 1 is being played, I think that rather than blaming the players, I think Bushiroad is to blame because they're not taking the old cards into account. They're not trying to push cards like the anti-heal and anti-salvage anymore. Even though they already exist, even though they're incredibly powerful, they're trying to move players towards playing other cards to get a slightly more coherent deck overall. And I'm not sure that trade-off is worth it because anti-heal is busted.
Yeah, anti-heal's really good.
especially with Hibiki and Rennie.
Yeah, Hibiki Verni is pretty decent. Being 6k is not great, but it's also fine. Like, whatever. Anyway, I've talked enough. Let's go best three cards by color. We'll start with blue because we remember that one the closest. Who's got three cards for blue that they like? I don't even know if I even have three.
Do I even
Do I have three? Yeah, I do have. I guess I do have three.
Alright, let's start with... Let me double check my list here.
I mean, my list is my favorite one is actually the event because it's funny. It's just a nice little card. Second is Italia, the restander, because it's decent. And my best card in blue is not best card. My third best is what I can't English today is Roma. She's a good tech. She's playable. She searches out anything, and yeah, she's a discard outlet. She's fine.
Yeah. I think I'm inclined to agree on the event. It seems fine. Same for Italia. I don't know if I have a third.
My third,
Ashigara
like,
for funnies.
my third would be the 0/0 that scries, and if you reveal a level, I mean, if you mill a level 0, and you get a level 0 for your back row, that card's pretty good, I think.
Sure. Yeah, that seems fine.
But yeah, the 3/2, Italia, and the event are my other two favorite cards for blue.
Yeah, fair enough. What about red? There's not really much to talk about for red, but I do think there was some black cards.
There was 20 cards.
I'm not allowed to say that Congo is the best card in red, am I?
Congo is the best card in red. That still hasn't changed in three sets.
That's silly. No. So my top three, the first one is the anti-change bomb, far and away.
Sure.
It's not close.
I think
number
I
two,
definitely agree on that.
number two, I think is actually the run to the right because it is a plus, and number three is obviously going to be Kashima because she had to be somewhere in the list because she's fine as a card.
I think I put Kashima above the runner, but yeah. Yeah, that's definitely where I sit.
Yeah.
I don't think there was very many things that were too interesting here.
Does that match your list, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just really high on anti-change bombs, more so than most people, so I can't expect everyone to be on the same level as me. All right, so next is green. Green has lots of good cards, but I think there's a couple that are just really dumb and really shouldn't exist. Yeah, so the one that shouldn't exist is obviously Jinsu. Jinsu is the best card in Kantai 3, I think. That's my current evaluation. It's just such a dumb card.
Oh yeah,
So
this
dumb.
card is insanity.
Like the value of a costless climax, a climax gain. Like the current climax salvages and searches are all either events or require you to ditch a climax of your own, or are very situational. This is just not situational at all. It's a discard outlet. Yeah, you take damage, but trading 1 damage for a soul rush and probable pluses is insane, especially since this costs no stock and your climax combo that you'll probably want to play does cost stock. And it's a stock soul anyway. Like, this is...
Yeah.
This card is not a... It's like Kantai gets all of the cards which didn't need to exist. Like, I know Azusa existed before Akatsuki, but Akatsuki was what popularized it. And then they have Hibiki, and they have stupid, like, this. It's very frustrating that this exists. Like, I understand that you need to do new things for your game, and to develop, to move forward. Because if you just stagnate, that's not going to be a very good game for very long. And Weiss is, admittedly, rather samey, but they're slowly getting there, like... It took a while. The feedback is obviously going to be a bit late because people develop sets months in advance. But I'm stunned that they think you can get this card and have it be fine without at least paying 1. Especially with how highly they valued climax retrieval and climax gain before. It's just ridiculous to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my angry rant, and that's just my number 1. Number 2, I think, is pretty easily going to go to, what's her name?
Prince.
Prince, yeah, the pudding girl. So, 1065, yeah, 1065 climax with stock soul to search any character. It's good. It's what Kantai wanted. It didn't really want to pay the cost, but since it's a stock soul, that's a bit better. And since you get power with the climax combo, it's nice. it plays well with Kantai's kind of passive field strategy. I think Prince is just a very good card overall, and is probably the card that Meta Kantai will rotate around simply because it's so necessary in the current meta.
Also, switching to green makes getting Hibiki into your deck even easier than before.
I don't think Prince plays well with Hibiki because they're both very like stock heavy.
Sure, but it just means to an
Yeah.
extent, like, having level 1 green game is a little bit less awkward.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What do you think, Benley?
My first two are pretty much your what you have. But Prince, yeah, I've been testing out Prince with Hibiki and Bernie. It does cost some amount of stock, but it's possible though.
Yeah, I'm sure it's possible, and the payoff is good enough, I think. Like being able to search whatever you want and getting anti-heal, it's really nice. There are some other little issues with that, but whatever. And the third card, this one's a bit harder since like the quality of cards drops off a lot. But I think it goes to level 3 Prince.
I don't even know what that does.
So it's a 3/2. When it comes to play, you may put the level 1 Prince from waiting room under its marker. When it attacks, it gains 1k power for each cost in the opponent opposite this. So it gains 2 cost. It gains 2k usually, and up to once a turn when this card is placed from hand of stage, pay 3, ditch 1, restand on reverse.
Yeah, that's not bad. There's also
It's
Climaxless,
fine.
which is very convenient.
Yeah, I think
What does the
the best card.
Bismarck do? Yeah, the Bismarck had
Bismarck
issues.
stock it can advance some with stock charge.
Yeah, the
Blind
Bismarck,
stock charge, man.
Bismarck has issues.
I
Although
actually like Bismarck.
the
I
stock
don't think
charge
it's
isn't terrible if you're spending a lot of stock at level 1 and 2. It's just...
I think Bismarck is fine. I just don't think it's good enough, and it takes up a climax slot.
Yeah, it takes up a climax slot. But if your finisher is going to be the second Prince, then Bismarck fits in fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Now,
probably...
this one's actually contentious. So, does anyone have a
I think the 1 and 2 is right. I'm just like double checking to see if there's anything that takes the 3 slot here.
Z3, the third class destroyer, the one that taps to give 1/5? That's the other one in contention.
Actually, like the row 500, the 2/1 that can potentially come out level 1, and it has the quote bar climax combo, where you reveal.
No, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's
I think
also
that's a
fine.
perfectly reasonable card as well. If your opponent lets you get them out, then it's very powerful, very, very powerful, and sometimes they have no choice. But
I don't...
yeah, I think that Prince is just a bit better because I'm higher on the Prince combo than I am the Row, whatever her name is.
Row 500.
And
I think I'm higher on Prince as well.
I personally also put Z3 above Row 500.
That said, the row is going to be 9k, so it's pretty large.
Yeah, it's a big card. It's just a bit harder to advance summon than normal, and it does get eaten by most advanced summons. I mean, you do have a counter, but it still
You're
gets
also going to be
eaten
put
by.
into an awkward position where, like, you're probably giving away free 3+s as well. So...
Exactly, that's the thing, because the card that changes into rows, or like trap changes into rows, is really small.
It's not a trap because it changes when it gets sent to waiting room.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't even get the trap. It's just, it happens.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're all pretty clear on. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's clear, but Jinsu and
Yeah, Jinsu
and
is
Prince are
definitely
1 and 2.
the silliest one.
And then there's a pretty good scrum, which is good. It means there's a bunch of good cards all competing, and it means deck design will take more than 5 minutes and 5 minutes of looking at the cards. So yellow, I think yellow is probably pretty straightforward. Number 1 is, I mean,
It's probably
I'm
Magi.
pretty sure it's a Magi. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a Magi.
Yeah.
Nonsensically powerful effect in a vacuum. Lets you get 1 cost plus from any climax play. Extremely strong. Like you can argue that being non-selective is bad, but that's a pretty poor argument if you're also toting Akatsuki's in the same deck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm aware that Akatsuki filters, but the milling and the selection are also a huge part of Akatsuki, and Amagi does all of that.
Yep.
He's just a really good card. Really good card with any level 1 climax combo, even Prince. Like, even Prince is okay with Amagi. It's not great, you'll have no stock for a bit, but there are ways to circumvent that.
Yep.
Next card is, I think, Okinami. So Okinami is a 0015. When this is placed from hand to stage, you may return a 0-cost character in your opponent's front row to hand. And it's got 1 cost, sack this, look it up to 4 cards from the top of your deck and add 1 Boat Girl to hand.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's basically better than the Shinchan one, right? Yeah. Yeah, Shinchan has that secondary effect.
Yeah. So this is like a bonus
Fixed
Akatsuki effect. You're paying 1 for the privilege of not having this on field. In other words, denying your opponent a free advance, a free plus on reversing it.
Well, you don't get to attack with it if you do it that way.
Correct. But if you want to bounce something for a bit more extra damage, that is an effect as well. You can bounce things like Prince and get in some value that way. Prince or like I've forgotten her name.
Or
the blue
Consuros
girl
that have downsides when they come into play.
Yeah, like any 1/0 that might tap on entry. It's got a lot of nice little things, but I think it's mostly important as a bit of bonus damage. You could read this as come and play, give 1 soul to something. To be honest,
it's a pretty fancy event here.
Yeah, I like this. I like this card. I like that it's got 2 powerful effects, neither of which is truly overbearing. And I think that the second effect is what Azusa effects should have been.
Yeah. I mean, they did it for Shinchan, and they just figured it wasn't powerful enough in Shinchan, so...
Idiots. Absolutely idiots.
I think I'm inclined to agree. I don't remember that much anymore, and I don't play test with this set, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. That said,
what do you think, Bailey? Bailey?
For my number 2, I have Terazuki. The 1045.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Terazuki is great as well. But my number 3 is actually different. So
my number 3.
Yeah, you go on about Terazuki because I think it's a very good card as well.
For my number 3, I have the 2-1 event, the yellow
event. Oh yeah, that's what I have as my number 3.
My number 3.
Yeah, so Terazuki, just because we skimmed over it, it's a 1045. When it attacks, if you've got the shots, I think is it shots?
I think shot.
Yeah, if you've got the let's see. Gun. Yeah, if you've got the shot climax in the climax zone, check the top card of your deck. If it's a Boat Girl, add it to hand. Otherwise, put it back. And it's got character encore, which I think it's a very good costless plussing ability that works better with things like Amagi than Prince does. Yep. That being said, I think selectivity is really strong when, as opposed to just tapping the top of your deck. There's a reason why Log Horizon is not amazing right now. There's a reason why Yellow-Green Rabbits isn't going to be broken. It's because tapping the top of your deck is good, but not super. Like this is in my top
as well.
Yeah. No, wait, Osamatsu? Really?
In yellow.
Yellow's check top 4, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Yellow is Maguro.
Yeah, yes, it is. It has the equally fake condition of other yellow characters.
Yeah. So this card is definitely in my top. Maybe even it's probably my top 4. But I
mean, it's not as good as the one in Animal either, though.
It's comparable to the one in Animal.
Animal's 5K.
It's 500 power, man.
What? That's well. Animal also has better back rows to play with it, but.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that these are the top 4. We just got different orders on it. And the event, Ishimochi is a 2-1 event. It's a counter. This card goes to memory, and then if you have 4 more Fleet Boat Girl characters, you can search for a number of Boat Girls from your deck and add them to hand, where that number is the number of this event that have been played.
I think the event is great. I mean,
I think it's really good, but the overall power level is a lot lower than Compass.
Yes.
So I don't know if it'll actually see play. That's my
But if you ever hit level 3, and you just happen to have 3 of these in your hand, you're just going off this turn. It's like running accumulated knowledge, right? It's just like suddenly I have 6 cards in my hand. I don't know where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're just pulling damage out of your deck. The 4 more Fleet Girls is not a real downside unless your opponent has Clock Kickers, and Kantai isn't known for having sack counters. I don't think it does yet, really. Like a playable one.
Kantai does not set counters now.
Yeah. As long as your opponent's on Clock Kickers, you're going to be able to basically use this whenever you want,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it more effective. It's better. It is sometimes going to be comparable to Compass, but usually it's not going to be as good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All right.
on smaller decks with
I
higher
think that's-
climax density, though, Hishimoshi is going to be very good.
Mm-hmm. I think that covers most of what I want to say about this set. Does anyone else have anything they want to say?
What was it? Star Wars is getting a set?
Oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, no, I think that's very funny.
And
I
I
think
think
it's
there's
very
going to be a ban list update next week, right?
I agree, and we're going to have our meme session then.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's Kantai 3. Um, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks Beanley for coming on the show.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, not the most
no,
exciting
good.
video we've ever done.
It's okay. None of us are actual like I don't know about Beanley, but I don't play Kankole. I just have friends who do, so I'm not
Yeah.
really excited about it.
Same boat for me, but I haven't been like super excited about a new set in a while.
Mm.
Mm.
I don't know. It's feeling real samey right now. I really hope they do some more interesting things soon.
Hmm. Yeah. So that about wraps it up, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.